I once assisted a pregnant woman who was kneeling at the station before a crucial presentation. I had that morning involving a $350 million contract. I got to the place right before the presentation was about to begin. The documents had already been distributed, and my colleague, who always views me as a rival, had taken credit for them. Mr. Waiter called me the following day to inform me that I had been dismissed. How dare you show up late for a presentation this important? Being late and assisting a pregnant woman put an end to lying. No, I'm not telling lies. I used to be. My coworker interrupted me as I was trying to explain, saying, "Oh, Mr. Waiter, this guy is always making up stories." It's fortunate that I was able to step in for him this time around, since it would have been a significant loss for the business. Exactly. My greatest dislike is liars. Someone like you is not needed in our organization. You've got the boot. Go now. Beside me, my colleague smirked. Granted, my tardiness was my fault, but to be sacked without doing any investigation. Those who rid me, though, are unaware that this is the final countdown to their demise. Hugo here. I work for a venture capital firm in a major metropolis. Even though it's a venture company, it has already received some attention. I can, with just a high school diploma, feel like I'm working somewhere where my efforts and abilities are valued. As a result, although my life is not particularly fulfilling, my work is busy. Together with my coworkers Kyle and Mia, I visited a well-known restaurant today to commemorate the accomplishment of our team's presentation. Located just off the main street, Four Elements is a great spot to get tasty seasonal cuisine. The patrons adore Michelle, the youthful hostess, who looks stunning in a frock. Naturally, the cuisine is also really good, and their stews are my favorite. No matter how exhausted I am from work, simply having a drink here makes me feel better. It's like a nostalgic taste of home. Hugo, oh, you are not often seen. Are you spending today with your coworkers? Yeah, we had a good day at work, so I thought we'd celebrate with some delicious food. Well, that's very amazing. Then I have to say thank you for your business. Oh, I'm grateful as always, I answered. Michelle gave me a warm towel with a gentle smile. Maya sighed quietly as she watched her. You're truly gorgeous, wow. How can you keep your charm intact? Men have to genuinely enjoy women like you. Oh my, I'm so grateful. Being complimented by someone so young is flattering. I'll thank you by giving you a little bit more. Michelle gave Mia a tiny plate. This is for you, right here. It is provided by the house. Wow, it looks delicious. Mia let out a cry. I felt warm as I sipped my drink, observing their interplay. Hugo, you also like women like her, right? Mia remarked abruptly. Well, I don't think there's a guy who wouldn't like someone like her, I responded, swallowing a little. Mia filled my glass with additional beer, clearly irritated. Observe, I have nothing but youth going for me as a young child. Hey, are you already drunk before you even started drinking? Be silent. I plan to have a lot of alcohol. Kyle found it annoying that Mia would not stop clinging to me. When we initially started working at the company, Kyle, who had graduated from a prestigious university, was pleasant, but his attitude quickly changed upon seeing that I was just a high school graduate. He would assign me all of the tiresome tasks, such as gathering and analyzing data, and then claim credit for it all. Hey, Hugo, I need this report by tomorrow. What? By tomorrow? I still haven't completed the task you requested yesterday. Come on, you graduated from high school. You have the courage to face it. Is your endurance your only strength? He said, shoving the work onto me with a light-hearted sarcasm. Mia was not fond of Kyle's methods and frequently complained about them. Really, he leaves everything up to Hugo and never completes the boring chores. Does he believe that his degree from college makes him superior? He's probably just envious of Hugo's popularity at work. Mia, Come on, I'll manage somehow. Hugo, you're just too kind. However, avoid going overboard or you'll pass out. Yeah, thanks. I worked through the night to complete all Kyle had given me to do that day. I was aware that Kyle thought less of me since I had only completed my high school education, but I didn't feel bad about it. That's because I decided against attending college. From our house, my mother operated a community kitchen where she fed underprivileged kids for free. She was the epitome of the overbearing, loving mother. From an early age, I helped with a variety of tasks, and my father would assist with shopping after work. Local kitchens drew children from a variety of backgrounds. Among them was a frequent visitor couple, Mimi and John, who were siblings. Their mother had several part-time jobs, and they were a single-mother family. The two of them would eat a single PB&J sandwich for dinner. Mimi and John always seemed to be so thin to me. One day, my mother brought them into our kitchen, as I recall. She laughed gleefully as she offered them mashed potatoes and pork stew. Observing how skinny they were all the time and saying, "Kids need to eat a lot, play hard, and sleep well. That's their job." They ate with great anticipation, raving about how good everything was. And it seemed like it had been a while since they had a warm dinner. They started visiting our kitchen every day after that, and we grew close to them like siblings. What are Mimi and John doing these days, I wonder? I hope all is okay with them. They are often on my mind as if they were my biological siblings. While some NPOs donated to the community kitchen, the proprietors paid for the majority of the expenses. The majority of our ingredients came straight from the hobby garden that my grandparents kept up. I loved having so many little friends around when I was a kid and an only child. I was thrilled to see my younger siblings happily devour my mother's cooking. My father went away from illness when I was in high school during this time of my life. I chose not to attend college and to begin working because I didn't want my mother to cease running the community kitchen. After a few years, my mother eventually followed my father, so we had to shut the kitchen. However, I don't regret my decision. When my mother is in the kitchen, I love to watch her grin. I can still vaguely remember my mother cooking with joy and the kids savoring her food. I've been told that Mimi and John were adopted by some distant family members. I get sentimental sometimes, wondering how they are doing these days. Kyle makes fun of my schooling, but I think that being able to perform the job properly is more important than having a degree. I so made the decision to keep working hard and not let it bother me, regardless of how often he makes fun of me. After completing the data analysis Kyle had assigned me, I got to work getting the papers ready for the project meeting tomorrow. We had to make a decision in that meeting about where to concentrate our efforts on a new product line that our company would manage. The meeting ultimately resulted in a decision to handle high-revenue items while taking cost-effectiveness into account. Manager Travis Hugo, who oversees our department, stopped me after the meeting. "I want you to take care of the new product's presentation. It includes gaining a new client, so pay attention to it. This might be a $350 million deal if everything works out." I appreciate it, but $350 million? It's a big amount of accountability. I was thinking about how much responsibility I had when Kyle, who had also attended the meeting, raised his hand and addressed Travis. "Travis, why are you assigning someone like Hugo, who lacks a degree, such a significant task? Shouldn't I be in charge of it?" Travis scowled at Kyle's sudden self-aggrandizement and insulted me. "No, a lot of the junior employees are involved in this initiative. They need someone to take the lead, someone like Hugo. Kyle, you ought to help him." "I understand." Recognized. Kyle, obviously not impressed, didn't bother to push Travis anymore, and we started getting ready for the new presentation. "Hugo, let's see to it that this goes well." "Yes, let's try our hardest." Even Kyle, who wasn't particularly cooperative at first, started helping with the material preparation as my coworkers and I got to work. "Hey Hugo, ought this information to be on page 6? "Yes, That would be very appreciated. At first, Mia and I were dubious about Kyle's abrupt transformation because he began lending a hand without making any offensive remarks. We eventually relaxed, believing that he had perhaps finally turned a new leaf. But I was unaware at the time that this would be a significant mistake. My team and I worked through the night to finish the presentation materials, and they came out beautifully. I was excited about today and sure that we would be successful. I had to reach the client's place of business early on the morning of the presentation, so I got up earlier than normal and made extra efforts to avoid being late. But the toughest moments are usually when problems arise. I observed a very pregnant woman crouched and gripping her stomach on my approach to the station. Her forehead was drenched in sweat, and she was obviously in discomfort. People walking by only glanced at her without stopping because it was rush hour. I had to talk to her, so I hurried over. I couldn't just stroll by. "Are you all right?" The woman heard me speak, gently raised her head, and said, "It hurts," in a sorrowful voice. "My stomach. Are you having labor pains?" "Yes, that seems likely." With a painful nod, she acknowledged that it was labor. She added that she frequently went to a clinic in the area. Her due date was still some way off, but labor had begun all of a sudden. I got a cab and drove her to the hospital right away. We arrived, and a moment later one of her family members appeared, so I said her farewell and rushed to the presentation location. I apologized to my team as soon as I got there. I noticed that Kyle had already distributed the materials as I turned to look around the room. "Many thanks, Kyle. You truly came to my rescue." Avoid bringing it up. We've united as a team. Prepare to begin. Yes, I'm grateful. I completed my preparations quickly, and I was able to begin the presentation on time. But as soon as I started talking, there was a hushed whisper in the room. Before long, an irate client spoke up. "Hey, the presentation on the projector doesn't match the materials. What is happening? The estimates and the facts in the handouts are entirely different. Have you given this any thought? Such careless data presentation betrays a lack of regard for our business." When I checked my materials in perplexity after hearing these remarks, I discovered that they were entirely different from what I had prepared. How come? What is happening? Kyle, who was sitting next to me, laughed quietly. "Gentlemen and ladies, I regret the mistake in the contents." After I distributed the accurate information I had created, Kyle added, "Please take a look at these updated handouts." He continued, "From here, I'll take responsibility for the explanation," before picking up the microphone. With a mocking look on my face, I had to silently leave the $350 million deal so as not to disturb the mood. Even though I was furious, Kyle's answer was wholly predicated on the script I had written. I thought, gripping my fist in frustration, I've been misled. It's possible that Kyle had this planned out from the beginning in an attempt to make me appear inept and to show the higher-ups how adept he was. Even if the presentation went off without a hitch, Kyle's actions had destroyed my reputation. I was now perceived as the one who used the incorrect supplies and arrived late. That became my new standing. Mr. Waiter visited my section the following day and gave me a severe scolding. "What were you considering? Not only did you arrive right on schedule for the presentation, but you also used the incorrect materials. You've damaged our business. Amazing. I sincerely apologize." Even though it seemed like an excuse, I truly apologized. I started to explain that the supplies had been exchanged and that I had been delayed in helping a pregnant woman, but Kyle cut me off. "Mr. Waiter, there is no truth to anything Hugo says. This guy is all talk, but he usually pulls a fast one on everyone. Travis gave Hugo all the credit at the last successful presentation, while I handled all the data and analysis. When I asked him about the materials this time, he assured me that they were accurate. However, based on my past experiences, I sensed something wasn't quite right, so I made extra copies just in case. Thank goodness, they were useful. Mr. Waiter wouldn't believe me in this case, even though everything Kyle stated was false. I forced myself to calm down. Is that accurate? Is that your name, Kyle? I've heard you attended a very famous university and graduated with honors. Education does not lie, in fact. Excellent work. Our business would have suffered tremendously if this deal had fallen through. Not at all. I simply completed the necessary tasks. Such modesty is admirable. Nevertheless, Travis had informed me that Hugo had promise. I'm not a fan of lying, so this is frustrating. We don't need someone in our organization who lies and frequently misses crucial meetings. You're fired, Hugo. What? I was really taken aback by the abrupt notice of termination. Behind me, Mia had been listening, and she began to say something. Mr. Waiter. Mr. Waiter, Hugo is completely innocent. Mia, don't worry. But behind me, Mr. Waiter stared at Mia. I see, a junior who is devoted to Hugo, doubting the choice I made. It seems that he did a good job of teaching you to break corporate policy. Apparently, social norms aren't properly taught to recent high school grads. Apprehensive. I opened my mouth to protect her, knowing that saying more might make things worse for her. Mr. Waiter, you mentioned that I am solely to blame for this error. She is ignorant of the matter. I apologize sincerely. Excellent. If you agree, kindly tender your resignation and go without delay. Yes, I understand. Mr. Waiter exited the room, and Kyle scowled at me. Observe, there's nothing you can accomplish correctly without a degree. It is basic to check the materials prior. Hey you, stop putting so much faith in people. Don't attempt to win over everyone either. You will only suffer as a result. Mia, you truly chose the incorrect senior. I would have taken good care of you if you had come under my supervision right away. Thank you, but no. Someone who uses dishonest tactics to steal credit is not someone I need. Fine, but don't come crying later. It dawned on me that this was the genuine Kyle. Although I knew he thought less of me due to my high school education, I didn't anticipate his going to such extreme measures to destroy me, even though I complied with all of his requests without any issues. Why was he so angry with me? I felt more and more hollow the more I considered it. Mia and the rest of my junior class disagreed with Mr. Waiter's choice and Kyle's behavior, which is why they were against my firing. However, the president's orders are final in our organization. These judgments are irreversible unless there is a strong argument for doing otherwise. After calming everyone down, I made the decision to begin using my accrued vacation time the following day. Even though I had worked for the company for a long time, I would be saying farewell when my vacation was over. I went to Elements, our regular cafe, that evening. Michelle gave me a warm grin, as usual, and I couldn't help but feel sentimental looking at her face. She exuded a sensation that something was off. I'm taking this one. Drink up and let your problems go, she murmured. Michelle, I got fired from my job. Oh no, how awful. But given your background, there had to be a good explanation, don't you think? Yes, in a way. Do you recall Kyle, my previous colleague who accompanied me here? Of course I remember. He set me up. I told her about my encounter with the expectant mother while en route to the presentation, my hospital visit, my near misses, and my fall into Kyle's trap. That's what transpired then. However, Hugo, you did a great thing by assisting the expectant mother and her child. That is amazing. Any firm with a poor future is one that fires people for standing up for what's right. Perhaps it's best that you departed early. Do you think so? Definitely. You'll work at a new place soon. Many thanks, Michelle. However, I might not be able to visit here because I'll be unemployed for a time. Say nothing so depressing. When you land your next job, you can repay me. Attending even at no cost is acceptable. Michelle, that's too generous. But hearing you say that cheers me up. I'm grateful. You're going to get something good, so don't worry. My instincts are typically correct. Michelle looked brilliant with a smile. After about a fortnight, my doorbell rang. Deliveries were the only ones I could think of coming to see me, so I went to the door and saw Michelle standing there. Michelle, how did you discover where I was? Hugo, long time not seen. How are you doing? I brought this person here after asking Mia for your address since she truly wanted to meet you. Someone wanted to meet me. It is indeed Samantha Sawyer. The woman you assisted 2 weeks ago was her. Ah. How are you doing right now? You're the reason I'm doing well. You are the reason the baby was born healthy. I'm so grateful to you. Samantha lowered herself to show her appreciation. That's good to hear. Thus, the baby's birth was safe. Her gaze clouded immediately as I answered. However, I've heard you were fired for supporting me. What a horrible business. I find it unbelievable how bold your employer is. It's all in the past now, so you don't need to worry about it. Nah. I can't ignore it like that. There is so much injustice towards the person who saved my babies and my lives. I can't watch helplessly. Could you elaborate on what transpired? In response to her sincere inquiry, I gave a detailed account of what had happened. I had not spoken to anyone this much in a long time, now that I think about it. I see. However, if that's the case, I believe I can assist. Indeed. I also have some fascinating facts. I have a great suggestion if you want to get even with them. Are you serious? How do you mean? We talked about a variety of future plans. Hugo, have you been eating properly? Michelle gave me a plate of prepared items from the cafe, including beef stew. Healthy diets are essential for human survival. Michelle, you need to eat healthily in order to be ready for what comes next. Thank you. Make no mention of it. Did you give Samantha one of our restaurant business cards while she was in the hospital, Hugo? Well, yes. So that's the reason you and her came here. Exactly. Are you not paying much attention? Sorry. Although I seemed to laugh it off, I was actually really mortified. I had always kept the bistro business card with me as a kind of lucky charm because I was such a big fan of Bistro 4, Elements, and Michelle. I gave Samantha my bistro card by mistake when she asked for my contact information in my haste to hurry to the presentation. I realized I had accidentally given the card to Samantha when I couldn't find it anywhere after getting fired. But in the end, it worked out since Samantha and Michelle became solid allies. It's all good when it ends well. Samantha, do you still have that business card? I do indeed. It's right here. I've safeguarded it. Could we trade it for this one? Why? Inquired Michelle, piqued. I said candidly, although I was uncomfortable. I adore Michelle's bistro. Upon entering the restaurant, I feel instantly refreshed, regardless of my level of fatigue. Thus, the business card serves as a lucky charm for me. My, that's so sweet. Michelle reddened and seemed happy. Until you find a new job and probably come back to the bistro, I'll deliver our food to you. What? Hugo, you have to accept a woman's offer. Samantha grinned slightly and continued. I thanked Michelle, blushing. I went to work on the final day of my leave. Then Travis hurried over to grab me. Hugo and Kyle, everyone involved in the presentation the other day, come to the president's office immediately. What? Although Kyle appeared perplexed as to why he was being called, I knew what would come next. Well, it'll be nice to see you get a scolding from Mr. Waiter one last time, I remarked, smirking to myself and putting my tongue out there without realizing it. The client company's president was waiting for us in the president's office, along with Mr. Waiter, who had a pallid complexion. Mr. Waiter said, Hugo, please forget about your resignation, as soon as he saw me. What? Hey, Mr. Waiter, what's up? I was meant to lead this company on this particular day. It has to do with the $350 million contract we recently signed. The president of the client wants. You take care of it. They'll void the agreement if you don't. After hearing Mr. Waiter's pathetic justification, Kyle promptly objected. What are you saying, Mr. Waiter? You informed me that I would be in charge of this transaction, and that the company didn't need this liar. Cease talking. The client president, who had been silently listening, then said, This is not the time for that. Why did you call Hugo a liar, Mr. Sawyer? He lied about being late for the presentation, which is why. I helped a pregnant woman, he claimed. Oh, Hugo, was your reason for being late a lie? No, it really happened. I arrived late to the presentation because I assisted a woman who had gone into labor and drove her to the hospital. I see. Who is the woman you assisted, by the way? She was a 20-something named Samantha Sawyer. She came to visit me lately, saying her kid had arrived safely, and thanked me. Fascinating. A nice man at the station also helped my daughter, and I recently had my own grandson. He went by Hugo, if my memory serves me well. The client president laughed merrily, as to a kid who had discovered a trick. So, Mr. Sawyer, you're saying Hugo helped your daughter? Yes, in fact. How could I watch as the man who rescued my daughter and my granddaughter gets fired and called a liar? As he spoke, Kyle's face twisted with rage. However, placing him in charge for no other reason than that is deeply personal. He is inept and provided false information. Helping someone become employable is a different matter. Oh, you say he's incompetent? Yes, precisely. Having completed high school, he is unable to perform his work well, Kyle yelled. Mia, who had accompanied us to the president's office, raised her voice at that point. Mr. Waiter, I have a report about the materials used in the presentation. Mia, what is it? Yes, Kyle was the one who created the inaccurate data in the presentation. I checked the printed materials attributes and logs. The accurate materials that Kyle subsequently provided were made by Hugo. What? Therefore, Kyle was lying from the beginning. That's right, Mr. Sawyer continued, turning to face a pallid Kyle. And I hear you even paid some young people to cause a scene during the presentation. Mr. Sawyer, what? What topic are you discussing? Kyle attempted to refute it, but Mr. Sawyer laughed and went on. I thought it strange that some young individuals who wouldn't normally raise a fuss were making such a big deal out of inappropriate content. I asked them after learning about Hugo from my daughter. They acknowledged that you hired them to exchange Hugo's documents and stir things up. What have you done, Kyle? Consequently, you were claiming credit for Hugo's labor while he was doing it all alone. Waiter cried out. That is untrue. I'm more qualified for this position than a recent high school graduate. Hugo is often praised, but I'm the one that genuinely cares about this business. Kyle yelled. That's the biggest lie of all. The president's office door suddenly opened, letting Samantha, and somewhat unexpectedly, Michelle enter. What? Michelle and Samantha? I stumbled over my words. Samantha winked at me briefly and then glared at Kyle, looking every bit the professional. It's good to meet you. I'm Samantha Sawyer, Sawyer Trading's vice president and the person Hugo assisted. I'm here to expose Kyle's dishonest behavior. Fraudulent activities. Mr. Waiter was taken aback by this revelation and could not conceal it. In this transaction, Kyle approached our representative Harrison with a plan for exaggerated billing. They already had a fictitious $100,000 invoice set, with $50,000 going to each of them, and they intended to divide the proceeds equally. Kyle's assertion that he is devoted to your business is untrue. Harrison asked me for advice at the last minute. That is untrue. Harrison is a name I've never heard of. Desperately, Kyle denied. It was Michelle's chance to speak now in her suit. Oh, please, Kyle. Harrison, and you frequent my bistro frequently. You were both there yesterday night. On my phone, I even have a video of the two of you. She played the video from her smartphone, showing Kyle and Harrison talking about their plan. in vivid detail. All you have to do is follow what I said, and you'll make a fortune. One deal, $100,000, easy money. Putting his arm around Harrison's shoulder, Kyle spoke. This video provided indisputable proof. Because the talk seemed so odd, I decided to record it. Kyle frequently disturbed other patrons with his impolite behavior. I begged him to stop, but he wouldn't. Michelle grinned but said, "I recorded it for times like this in case of any trouble." Goddamn you. All of you plotted to harm me. How could you think I'm not as good as this high school graduate? I graduated with honors from a highly recognized university. I'm far better than him. Kyle lost his temper and yelled, "Cease talking. You are to blame for everything." "Kyle, you're fired." With a scarlet face from fury, Mr. Waiter exclaimed. When security heard the disturbance, they came and took custody of Kyle, who was still yelling. He was promptly put on administrative leave. "So, Hugo, what are your plans? Do you still wish to be employed here?" Mr. Sawyer inquired. I gave a firm shake of my head. "No, I don't plan to return to this company." "What? Hugo, please return." Mr. Waiter begged. "Mr. Waiter, no." This experience disproved my initial belief that this organization was fantastic, because it provided someone like me a chance. I want a job where I can use my skills to their fullest. You're correct. Hugo is deserving of that. He ought to prosper in a fresh setting. So, Dad, I want to bring him on board as our company's vice president. Is that acceptable? Samantha asked. Samantha wants to recruit me all of a sudden. I saw this as a fantastic opportunity. I was intrigued by their company, which I had lately learnt about from Samantha. Obviously. I intended to employ him directly, Mr. Sawyer retorted. I'm grateful, Dad. So, Hugo, let's collaborate going forward. Yes, thank you very much. I so become a member of Sawyer Trading, which operates globally. I'm now in charge of the import department, which imports different products from abroad. Samantha's family and I get along well, and I've gotten to know her kid, Hayden, well. Following Kyle's dismissal, the $350 million agreement was terminated. But now that I import the cosmetics at a lot cheaper cost than I was meant to from my prior company, Sawyer Trading, is making a significant profit. Samantha is really happy right now, and in my opinion, Michelle has developed into more than just a friend. She has nearly moved in with me, to be honest. I'm sipping good sake and savoring her delectable food at Four Elements today. This is my happy place right now. My former coworker Mia has been a regular at the bistro as of late. Now that Hugo was in front of me sipping sake, I decided to move to Sawyer Trading in an attempt to get closer to him, but it was too late. How annoying. She had followed me to Sawyer Trading and established herself as a reputable buyer, admired for her feminine viewpoint on acquisitions. However, I am aware that Michelle is invincible. I'll grow up to be just as amazing as her and meet someone even more amazing than Hugo. Michelle told Mia, "Oh, you're already wonderful." Many thanks. I would like another round of the sake you suggested. Hey, go easy on that, I said, attempting to soothe her. After chuckling, Michelle set a plate of stewed food in front of me. I complimented her cooking once again as I ate. Michelle, your food is always very delicious. It resembles a comforting taste of home. Really? It's not surprising that you enjoy my cooking, but I'm happy that you do. Hugo, truly? Why is it the case? Have you managed to figure it out yet? Hugh. Could that name really be Neen, I wonder? Yes, Nini, that is me. Additionally called Michelle. Not at all. You've undergone such drastic alteration that I hardly recognized you. It was Mimi, the same Mimi who used to come every night for dinner in our communal kitchen. So, John, what about your brother? Hugh, please hurry up. He is our head chef these days, so you see him all the time. How come? John, the burly chef with the buzz cut, is that? Indeed, that is him. I assume you're shocked. He was formerly extremely thin, but today he has gorilla-like muscles. But we are all your mother's debt. We try to capture the flavor of her cooking. We sincerely appreciate it. That makes sense. It makes sense why your food tastes so familiar to us. Food and happiness are related. You feel helpless and depressed when you're hungry. However, after a substantial dinner at the community kitchen, we were ecstatic and had a good night's sleep. John had the same emotions. We were happy because of your mom. We enjoyed proper meals. Once our grandparents took us in, but we would never forget the food from the communal kitchen. With all of my effort, I hope to eventually prepare food with that same delicate flavor. And you're actually doing it now. Your food is very good. That's wonderful to hear. My next objective is to accumulate enough cash to launch a communal kitchen of my own. That's fantastic. You'll realize that dream, I'm sure. Major convenience store companies now participate in community kitchens, which were previously dependent on contributions. Just getting food that would otherwise be thrown away, like lunchboxes and snacks, would make a lot of youngsters happy. But a hearty, home-cooked supper can also warm someone's disposition. Michelle aspires to manage a welcoming community kitchen. As much as I want to, I also want to help her fulfill this ambition, knowing how difficult it is. In light of this, I hope to eventually figure out how to bring in reasonably priced ingredients from abroad. This bond, fostered by hot meals, is extremely valuable. With her smile and generosity, my mother forged this link. I wish to treasure this significant relationship forever.